I want to start out by saying that it's been a tough 24 hours for myself and for the staff. We obviously lost a real good coach in Jim, and even a better person. I've established a strong relationship, a strong bond with Jimmy over the last 2.5 years, and he certainly has made me a better coach over that time. And I want to make sure that I wish him all the best. He will land on his feet. He's too good of a coach, and I want to wish his family the best as well. So it's been a tough 24 hours, but it's time for us as a staff and as a group now to make sure that we move forward here.
Questions? Joe, can you put your finger on why everything is broken down? Say, like, gas not being paid, they're not being caught, and every little thing seems to be off with the operation right now. And did you ever put your finger on how that is happening and how you get out of it?
Well, I think we get out of it by our going back to our work ethic. I think it starts there, and making sure that whether it's in practice, pregame skates, wherever we are in the weight room, that we start with a strong work ethic as a group. And when you have that foundation, everything else will take care of itself. Typically, when you have the work ethic and you have good energy in your practice and you have some enthusiasm, the execution will take care of itself after that. But right now, what we're looking for from this group as a staff is to make sure that, they believe that they're a good team, because we have good players in this room and they're capable of more. And it's our job as a coaching staff to make sure that we get it out of them. I think it starts there with our work ethic.
Do you have a sense of why that work ethic hasn't been at the level it's needed to be?
Well, I think it's been there, but we just need more. We need more from it. And I think with, as like I said before, it's our job as a staff to identify the areas that we feel that's going to help this group succeed and move forward. Today's practice was a good example. I thought that the energy level was real high. I thought our execution looked good today. Now it's day one, obviously, with a new coach. But I did like the progress that we made today, and it's something that as a staff we have to continue to harp on.
Do you think the pieces are there to turn things around with special teams units? Yes, I do. I think that if you look in the past, and I don't want to go too far behind, but we've always had strong special teams, and we have to get those two units, the power play and the P, getting back up to speed for sure. And I know we have the personnel to do it. Again, I go back to us as a staff. We have to do a job where these guys understand when they come on the ice, know exactly what's going on, what the plan is, make sure that's the right plan for them, whether it's the power play or the penalty kill. But we have the personnel to deliver. I'm very confident in that.
What was your approach out there today? Were you trying to maintain as much of a business as usual kind of approach? Or?
Well, there was two things I was focused on here this morning. One was the energy level of the practice and the execution, like I had mentioned before. Those were the two things that I was looking for. I knew there was a lot going on today for our guys, for our staff, so it was really important that we hammered home with those two details today. And I like I said before, I like the result of the practice this morning.
How would you describe the mixed emotions of this opportunity for you personally, and obviously, having it happen in this way?
Well, it's bittersweet. For me, I feel as a staff and personally me that we're responsible for what happened here today. We have to take some of the fault and take some of the blame as far as what happened yesterday. And I'm going to make sure that as a staff we try to correct this and move forward. I'm excited for the opportunity. I'm not going to lie. It's a great opportunity. This is our original 6 franchise. To be back, getting another crack as the head coach, it was always important to me. Sometimes it's not the way you want to get it, but like I said, this is an opportunity that I've been waiting for. It's a bittersweet day. It's a bittersweet day. That's the best way to explain it.
With in-season urgency, is it more likely that you're going to be involved in PK, PP, all of these situations, and put more of your identity and stamp and issues that need fixing with this team? And part two is really overall, how realistic is it for you to coach strategy and systems that you would do if you were getting this job in July?
Well, we all believe in how we play as a staff. We had great collaboration with Jim as far as how we played, and I think to answer your question, it's hard right now. I have a great staff here. with Jay Leach and Chris Kelly and obviously Bob Asenza and our two video coaches. And we're not going to change much right now. I will still have my hands on the penalty kill. Obviously, I know that I'm going to be pulled in some different directions. Chris Kelly will still oversee the power play. We'll decide on what we're going to do as far as changing things around in the near future. But right now, we're going to stick to what we've been doing. But we're going to try to make some changes within the structure of what we're doing. That doesn't mean we just stand pat, even though we may have the same people running it. We're going to try to make some changes that are going to help our guys succeed.
Joe, you look at the PK, you've worked with that for so long now. Do you see the problems that you guys have had this year more structure or more just taking too many penalties and overtaxing guys?
Well, certainly the penalties don't help. We've been much more disciplined the last few games. I think the last 3 games we've taken only 2 penalties a game, and we haven't given up a goal. So that helps, right? When you're killing off, more than 5 or 6 a game, it gets taxing on the same guys all the time. Structure-wise, it needs to be better. There's certain areas of the ice that we need to do a better job of protecting. That falls on the coaches. And then the execution, obviously when we have the opportunities to clear pucks, things like that, they're going to make sure that we're doing that. So it's a combination of both.
Joe, a lot of times the assistant coach has to be the good cop to the head coach's bad cop. How do you make that transition?
Well, you just have to be yourself at the end of the day. I've been with this organization for 10 years now, and I've been with some of the players that long, maybe some a little bit less, but they know who I am. They know how I act around the locker room and one-on-one individually. I'm not going to change who I am. I think that I'm straightforward. I try not to sugarcoat a lot of things, but I've also had the experience and the pleasure of working with some really good coaches in the past, not just Jim, but I worked with Claude Julien, and I was able to work with Bruce Cassidy. Everybody has different personalities and different ways to motivate their team and individuals. And you take the good that you want to take from certain individuals, but at the end of the day, if you're not yourself, it doesn't work, and I'm just going to try to do that.
How do you want to be different than the last time you were at Cove? What things did you take from that experience that you can utilize?
Yeah, the biggest thing for me is personalizing the relationships with players. That's the biggest thing. I was a young coach at the time. I think I was 39 when I first got hired as a head coach, or 40, I can't remember, but it was a long time ago. And I felt I didn't do a good enough job developing relationships with the individuals. I was more focused on, the structure of the team and the systems we were playing. And at the end of the day, that's all important and it all matters. But what really matters is your relationships with your players, and that's something that I think I've learned from the first go around.
There was so much speculation about Monty's status the last couple of weeks. So was that from the outside? Was that felt inside, just in terms of the feeling like guys were on the hot seat leading up to yesterday?
Can you repeat that again? I'm sorry.
Did it feel like guys were on the hot seat, from the inside, from your guys' perspective?
Well, when you're not living up to expectations, right? This is the business we're in, and it's unfortunate. So we all feel pressure every day when we come to this job. We want to make sure that we're exceeding expectations, not just living up to expectations. So there's always pressure here every day.
Joe, did you learn how to personalize relationships being a dad? I mean, you were probably a young dad, 39, when you had the Avalanche job. Being a dad, raising kids, did you learn how to...
It definitely helps. There's no question, especially seeing your kids grow up as teenagers and then into their early 20s. I have 2 older boys. I have a daughter who's still in college. So being able to watch them grow up and how I handle situations with them certainly helps me, I think, with the players in the locker room. And like I said before, to me, I still had good relationships before, but I wanted to improve on that part. And I wanted to make sure that was something, when the opportunity came around, again, I was going to put a strong focus on.
Do you notice you have to talk to this generation different because you learned that as a parent?
I think you have to talk to every individual different. Yeah, I think that's just the way players are wired these days, and I think you have to find out as a coach what makes each individual tick, right? I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on besides what's at the rink. There's other stuff going on at home. So, but you find what makes each player tick, and you try to motivate them the best you know how through your relationships.
Donnie said that he thinks this team needs to be a harder out than they've been in the first 20 games this year, a harder out for opponents.
How much of that do you feel like is just a mentality? It's not even X's and O's, it's not anything else, it's just the way like you approach everything and approach competing?
Well, I think a lot of it is a mindset right now with our group. Certainly, we need to bring that out of them. And one thing that we're going to focus on is being a harder team to play against. And when I say that, I mean just stingier. We need to do a better job in front of our goaltenders. If you look at the 10 years that I've been here, we've always been a team that really takes pride in defending their goaltender, defending the net front, defending the zone. And so for me, that's one area where we're going to be more difficult to play against by playing our system, which will allow us to be successful.
Zadorov's been targeted a lot by the refs early in the season. Is this something he just has to play through and win the war, even if he loses some battles along the way as far as taking penalties go?
Well, he's a big man. He's very noticeable on the ice, and he has a physical side to his game, a physical component. He has an edge. There's certain times, obviously, where he's crossing the line and going into the box too often. But, the organization brought Z in here for a reason. They brought Z in for a reason, Nikita, and it's to do that. It's to have a presence physically on the back end. It's to be strong in front of our net front. Just got to figure out sort of how to not to cross the line so he's going in the box.
What's going to be your approach when it comes to getting kind of the best version of themselves out of a lot of the players that have underachieved so far this season? How do you approach that on an individualistic type of standpoint?
Well, I think it's like I said before. I'm going to go back to it again, and I think I need to start getting relationships with these guys, get more personal with them, find out what makes them go. If it's something that's different from player A to player B, I need to know that. Certainly. There's a lot of guys that are underperforming right now, and as a staff, we're going to pull it out of them. I'm confident we are, but it's going to take some work. It's not going to happen overnight, but we feel like we have a good enough team. We have good enough character in that room where we're going to get it out of them.
With so many areas to improve on, what's the first order of business?
I would say it's, like I mentioned before, it's being harder to play against. I want us to make sure, I want teams to know again that it's going to be hard to score goals against us. Our offense will come. There's enough players in here that are going to score goals. And I think the focus has been too much on that. Let's focus on keeping the puck out of our net, being hard to play against, and I'm very confident that this group will score goals.